You're welcome to class again. Um, yes, the last time in the class, you were given some work to do. Okay, we still have it on the board. You have to solve the following problems. Okay, so we are going to solve the problem here. But I want you to drop your answer in the comment section. Let's see what you have before we solve the problem. And also, I want you to inform your friends, your classmates that the class has started. Now you can send a link to them, or you share this video with them. And don't always forget that you should always give a thumb to the like button. And also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, ensure you subscribe to the channel. All right, now let's wait a little bit for those that will soon be joining us. All right, okay, so you can call the attention that the class has started. All right, I want to begin to see the solution to our problem. Let's drop it in the comment section. Let's see what do we have as an answer, the first one and the second one. Okay, am I seeing any answer? Yes, I've not seen anyone dropping answer. Yes, ensure you share the link with your friends. Let them know the class have started. Let us have a good number here before we commence the class. Okay. Now let's look at the first question we have here. X squared minus 7x plus 2 equals to 0. Right, technically, we are waiting for those that are yet to join. I want you to drop your answer in the comment section. Yes, can you do that? I've not seen anyone drop in answer. What do you have for that question? All right, okay. I can see somebody drop in an answer here. Yes, okay. 1 over 2 or 2 over 3. Okay. Yes, Uba, what is your answer? You're only greeting us here. Drop your answer. Let me see. Okay, you dropped your answer. I can see that. Okay, now others should drop their answer. Let's see. What do you have for the first one before we solve? Okay, thank you very much. So we are going to solve this problem. I want to believe that probably maybe others are trying to type their answers. Okay, so now looking at this problem, this is a quadratic equation. So you have to solve this quadratic equation. Now, the idea is you factorize the left-hand side. Now, doing that, you have to look for the sum and product. Sum and product. Now, so what is going to be the sum of this? The sum of this is the coefficient of x, that is minus 7. Sum is minus 7. And the product is the multiplication of 6 by 2. Alright? The number here times the number here. So that is going to be plus 12. So plus 12. That's the product. Now, you are expected to look for two numbers such that when you multiply the numbers together, you have plus 12. And then when you add together, you have minus 7. So what are the numbers Okay, so I want you to drop that in the comment section, right? What are the numbers such that when you multiply together, you have plus 12, and when you sum together, you have minus 7. Yes, let's begin to drop the number. Let's see. Okay, the two numbers. The two numbers. All right. I want to believe you dropped your answer. So the two numbers will be minus what? Minus what? Minus 4 and minus 3. Minus 4 and minus 3. So if you put minus 4 and minus 3 there, so that means you are correct. Okay, now let me check. Now those people that put minus 4 minus, okay, I can see minus 4x minus 3x. That is correct. Okay, so just like one person give us the answer. All right, so the two numbers are minus 3 and minus 4. You will see these two numbers, they are factors of plus 12. And also, when you add these two numbers together, you have minus 7. The same way when you multiply the two numbers together, you have plus 12, because minus times minus is plus, 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, now can we incorporate that into this equation? So we have 6x squared. Now this minus 7x now turns to minus 3x minus 4x. Now these two now is the same thing as minus 7x. Hope you get that. Alright, so we now put plus 2 equals to 0. Alright, now let's look at the first pair we have here. So what is the common factor? The common factor here is going to be 3x, or the greatest common factor. So that is going to be 3x, because 3 can go in 6, 3 can also go in 3, x can go in x squared, x can go in x. So you have 3x. Now when you divide this by 3x, you have 2x. Now divide this by 3x, you have minus 1. Okay, now look at this second pair. What is the common factor? Minus 2. I told you the negative, the sign here should be the one you're going to put here. Okay, so that is minus 2. So you factor out minus 2. So now when you divide this by minus 2, you have 2x. Okay, now when you divide this by minus, you have minus 1. Okay, that is equal to 0. So we see what we have in the bracket now are the same thing. So you factor that 2x minus 1 out. You have 2x minus 1, and you are left with what? 3x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, so now we have two numbers multiplying each other to have 0. So it's either this is 0 or this is 0. Can we do that now? So we have 2x minus 1 is 0, or 3x minus 2 is 0. Okay, so now you can add 1 to both sides in this equation. So we have 2x equals to 1, or 3x. When you add 2 to both sides, you have 3x equals to 2. Okay, so you can divide both sides by 2 here. So you have x equals to 1 over 2, or x equals to 2 over 3. Okay, so that's going to be the answer to the problem. So how do we award marks to this question? Alright, for writing this statement, we have m1. Okay, now for getting into this, factorizing this left hand side, we have m1. Now for getting this correct answer, we have a1 and a1. That is 4 marks. Can you tell me what did you score? Is it 4-4? Alright, so if you score 4-4, that's very good. So you can give yourself a round of applause. Alright, so 4 marks question. So that is how that will be marked. Now let us look at the second question here. The second question. Okay, we have 3x squared minus 5x minus 12 equals to 0. You have to factorize this. 3x squared minus 5x minus 12. So how do you do this? The first thing is to look for the sum and product, because you want to divide this minus 5 into two parts. So you have product to the what? 3 times minus 12. That is what? Minus 36. And the sum is what? The coefficient of x. That is minus what? Minus 5. So you look for two numbers such that when you multiply together you have minus 36, and then when you add together you have minus 5. So the two numbers will be what? Minus 9 and 4. Okay, so now, so when you multiply these together you have minus 36, and when you add together you have minus 5. Okay, so now can we plug in this value? So we have 3x squared minus 9x minus 4x minus 12 equals to 0. Okay, now this one's supposed to be plus. Okay, 4x minus 12. Okay, now, so what is the common factor here? The GCD, greatest common factor, is 3x. We have 3x. Okay, this divided by 3x, we are left with x. When you divide this by 3x, we have minus 3. Okay, now let's look at this. You divide, the common factor is what? 4. So now we have plus 4. So when you divide this one by plus 4, you have x. Minus divide this by plus 4, you have 3. Equals to 0. Okay, so now, what's the common factor? You have x minus 3, and you have 3x plus 4 equals to 0. Okay, so it's either x minus 3 equals to 0, or 3x plus 4 is what? Is 0. Alright, so you can add 3 to both sides. So you have x equals to 3. Alright, or you move this minus 3 to this side. You know, once you are moving it, the sign changes to plus. Or we have 3x equals to minus 4. Hope you get that. So you divide both sides by 3. So you have x equals to minus 4 over 3. This is not your answer. So your final answer is going to be minus 1 whole number 1 over 3. So now, how do we award marks to this question? Now, for writing this statement, we have M1. Now, for getting it down to this level, we have M1. For getting the correct answer, x equals to 3, A1. And for getting your answer as x equals to minus 1 over 1 over 3, you have A1. So it's 4 marks question. Alright? So 4 marks altogether. Okay, so I'm not sure everybody is going to get these 4 marks, because some people will stop here. Now, you are not expected to solve here. I told you in the last class, when you have improper fraction, you try as much as possible to change it to mixed fraction. So now, this is the answer to the problem. So now, if you don't write this now, so I will not give you this mark. So you can mark yourself now. So we have 4 marks altogether. So that is the answer to the problem. Alright, so if you got the answer, you can give yourself a round of applause. That means you must have dropped your answer, right? Okay, now let's move forward. Now finding quadratic equation with given rule. Finding quadratic equation with given roots. find the quadratic equation. Find the quadratic equation whose roots are -2 and +1. Okay, we are moving to another subtopic, finding quadratic equation with given roots. Now, before we do this one, if you are just joining the class and you have not subscribed to this channel, ensure you do that now. Tap the subscription button now, and also if you have not liked this page, make sure you click on the like button. All right, thank you. Now, let us look at it. We want to find the quadratic equation whose roots are -2 and +1. Now, when I say root of a quadratic equation, what does it mean? It means the solution of quadratic equation. When you solve a quadratic equation and the answers are -2 and +1. Now, the question now is find the quadratic equation whose answers are this. All right, so how do we go about it? So that means we want to use the answer to get the question back. That's the meaning. All right, so we start by saying, let the quadratic equation that I want to get now, let the quadratic equation be in terms of x. So if the quadratic equation that I want to get now, which roots are these, are in terms of x. So that implies that x is what? Is -2 and x is +1. All right, so what we want to do now, we just want to reverse the process of what we have been doing since. Now, the next thing now is to add 2 to both sides. You subtract 1 from both sides, or I simply say move this -2 to this side, become +2. Move this +2 to this side, it becomes -1. Now, can we do that now? So we have this to be x +2 equals to 0, or x -1 equals to 0. Okay, so now let's use or. Okay, now, so here now we have x +2 equals to 0 and x -1 equals to 0. Now, if you multiply these two values together, you are still going to have 0. If you multiply x +2 times x -1, the result is going to be 0. You know why? Because this one is 0 and this one is also 0. So 0 times 0 is going to give you 0. Okay, so that means we have this. So the next thing is to expand this left hand side. So how do we expand now? So you pick the first term here, put it in front of what we have in the bracket. So you have x times x -1. Now pick the second one, that's +2. You put it at the front of what we have in the bracket here. That's x -1 equals to 0. Okay? So now let's open the bracket now. We have x times x, x squared, x times -1 minus x. Now 2 times x, that's +2x. Now 2 times -1, that is -2, and that gives you 0. Now look at these middle terms. They look similar, alright, so you can add them together. X squared, x squared minus x plus 2x minus 2. Alright, so now this is going to be x squared plus x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, can you see that? Alright, so this is going to be the required equation. Is the required quadratic equation. So this is the equation whose roots are -2 and +1. Which roots are -2 and +1? Hope you get that now. So that means if you solve this quadratic equation, your answers will be -2 and +1. All right. Hope you get that. Okay. Now let us look at another question that is similar to that. So find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2 or number 1 over 2 and -1 and -1. Okay, so now we are doing this one together, and immediately after this one I'm going to give you something to do. All right, now let's look at it. Now you have to find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2½ and -1. Solution. So you start by saying let the quadratic equation be in terms of, you can just write any alphabet. Let's say x. All right, so if the quadratic equation is in terms of x, so that implies that x equals to now 2 whole number 1 over 2, or x equals to what? -1. All right. So now the next thing now is to express this one in improper fraction. We have x equals to now 2 times 1, 2 plus 1. That's 5 over 2. Or x equals to -1. So here you can multiply 2 by both sides. So multiply 2 with x and multiply 2 with this. That's 5 over 2. So you have 2x equals to 5, or x equals to -1. All right. Now let's subtract 5 from both sides, or you move this 5 to this place. So we have 2x minus 5 equals to 0, or x plus 1 equals to 0. When you move this to this side, the sign changes. Okay, so now this value here is 0, and this one too is also 0. When you multiply two zeros together, the result is going to be 0. So now can we multiply now? We have 2x minus 5 times x plus 1. The result is 0. Okay, I think there's a sense in that. This is 0, this is also 0. So when you multiply zeros together, you have 0. Okay, so now let us expand this left hand side. We have 2x times x plus 1 minus 5 x plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, all right, now so let's open the bracket. Now 2x times x, what do you have? We have 2x squared. Now 2x times 1, that's plus 2x. Okay, now minus 5 times x, that gives you minus 5x. Minus 5 times 1, that is minus 5 equals to 0. Okay, now when you look at this, you will see these middle terms are similar. Okay, so you can join them together. So you have 2x squared, now plus 2x minus 5x, that gives you minus 3x. Minus 5 equals to 0. So this is the required equation. So is the required equation. Is the required equation. All right. Okay. So can I give you something to do now? Let's try this. So try this. Try this one. So find the quadratic equation whose roots are whose roots are 2 over 3 and minus 1 over 2. Okay, can we do this one? Let's try this. Find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2 over 3 and minus 1 over 2. Now let's quickly do this one within 2-3 minutes, and let's drop our answer in the comment section. Alright, so now don't forget, if you want to write x squared, you can write it this way, x squared. Alright, so x squared can be written like this. So I will understand that. So this will represent power. So x squared. Right, now let's quickly do that and let's see what we have as our answer. And don't forget, those of you that are just joining this class, if you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe so that you'll be getting the notification for any class we'll be having. So, and don't forget to also tap the like button. Alright, so now let's do this. So in the next 2 minutes, we are going to solve the problem together. So solve it and drop your answer in the comment section. Okay, is anyone complaining that he can't see? I want to believe we can all see the question. Find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2 over 3 Okay, let's move. Let me move it closer so that we all see. I think it should be better by now. So the question is, find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2 over 3 and minus 1 over 2. Okay, I've seen an answer. I can see 6x squared minus x minus 2 equals to 0. Let's wait for others to give their answer. Let's wait for others. Okay, I can see another solution. 6x squared minus x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, so others, where are your answers? Okay, so I think I can only see like two people. Okay, show me there. I've dropped an answer. Muiz, I've also dropped an answer. Okay, now let's look at the problem together because of our time. So, now look here. Now you have to find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2 over 3 and minus 1 over 2. So how do you do this? Now the first thing is to say, let the equation or the quadratic equation be in terms of x. So if the quadratic equation is in terms of x, now what it means is that x equals to minus 1 over 2 or x equals to 2 over 3. Okay? Now here you can cross multiply or you multiply both sides by 2. So when you do that, you have 2x equals to minus 1 or 3x equals to 2 when you cross multiply. Alright, so now let's move this one here. Once you move this minus 1 to this side, the sign changes. So you have 2x plus 1 equals to 0 or 3x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay? Now, you can bring this and this together to multiply each other, since we know that the result is going to be 0. So you have 2x plus 1 times 3x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, so what's the next thing? To expand the left hand side. So now you have 2x times 3x minus 2. Now you pick the second one, plus 1 times 3x minus 2 equals to 0. So now let us open the bracket. Now 2x times 3x, you have 6x squared. Now 2x times minus 2, that is minus 4x. Okay, so plus 1 times 3x, that is plus 3x. And plus 1 times minus 2, that's minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, now let's look at the middle term. The middle terms are similar. So minus 4x plus 3x, that is going to give you minus x. So you have 6x squared minus x, okay, minus 2 equals to 0 is the required equation. Alright, so this is the answer to the problem. So how do we award marks to this? Now, for getting to this level here, we award M1 here. For getting to this level, we have M1. Okay? For getting to this level, we have M1. And for getting the answer, we have A1. So 4 marks altogether for this question. Okay? So I want to believe everybody has gotten this method. Now, when we are asked to find quadratic equation, which roots are given, all right? So this is just the procedure. It's very easy. Alright, let's move down to the next thing. Okay, now let's look at this. Further problems. Example. Given that 1/2 and minus 3 are roots of the equation is 0 equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. Find a, b, and c where a, b, c are least possible integer. Okay, so now can we see the question? Now let's look at it together. Now, given that 1/2 and minus 1/3 are roots of the equation, this quadratic equation, now you have to find a, b, c, where a, b, and c are least possible integers. Now, what I need to do is to get the quadratic equation, whose roots are these. Now, that quadratic equation I'm going to get now will be the same thing with this one. So, we'll now make comparison. Now, can we do that now? Okay, so now we start by saying we can see the quadratic equation is in terms of x. So, you just have x equals to 1/2 or x equals to minus 3. Okay, so now look at this first equation here. You can cross multiply. Now when you cross multiply, you have 2x equals to 1. So we have 2x equals to 1 or x equals to minus 3. Now let us transpose this now. So you have 2x minus 1 equals to 0 or x plus 3 equals to 0. Alright, so now this and this, 2x minus 1 and then x plus 3, when they multiply each other, the result will be 0 because each of them is 0. So we have 2x minus 1 times x plus 3 will give us 0. So you can expand now. So when you expand, 2x times x plus 3 minus 1 times x plus 3 equals to 0. Okay, so now let us expand now. 2x times x, so you have 2x squared. 2x times 3, that's plus 6x. Minus 1 times x minus x. Minus 1 times 3, that's minus 3 equals to 0. Now we can add this and this together. 6x minus 1x, that's 5x. So you have this equation turning to x squared plus 5x minus 3 equals to 0. Okay, is the quadratic equation whose roots are this and this. And in the question, we have been given that this quadratic equation is also a quadratic equation whose roots are 1/2 and what? Minus 3. So what it implies now is that this equation and this are similar. They are the same thing. They are equivalent. Alright, so I can now compare now. When you compare, you will see the coefficient of x here is 2. While the coefficient of x squared, here is 2. While coefficient of x squared here is what? A. Here is 5. Coefficient of x is 5. Coefficient of x here is b. And the number that is independent of x is minus 3 here. Why this is what? Is c. So you can compare. So that means comparing the equations. When you compare this equation 1 and 2, when you compare the two equations, so it follows that a equals to 2. You can see now a is 2. Now b will be what? 5. b equals to 5. And c is what? c is minus 3. So you can see all of these numbers are integers. Alright, so this is the answer to that problem. Alright, I want to believe you understand what I just explained now. Now let us look at another one. Okay, minus 5 is a root of the quadratic equation n squared minus 8n minus 65 equals to 0. What is the other roots of the equation? Okay, now can you see that? Now you have been given one root of this quadratic equation. You know, whenever you solve quadratic equation, you are going to be having two answers to get. Now, so we are giving one of the answers. So now the question asks you to get the other root, that is the second root. So how do you go about it? So there are several ways you can use. But let's use this method now to get it. Now you will say let A represent the second root. So the second root we are looking for, that is the second answer of this quadratic equation, let it be A. So now you know, if this is the first root, so that means n equals to minus 5 or n equals to A, which is the second root, and that's what we are looking for. So now let us transpose minus 5. We have n plus 5 equals to 0, or n minus A equals to 0. Okay, so we can multiply this and this. We have n plus 5 times n minus A equals to 0. Okay, so what's the next thing? We expand. So we have n times n minus A. Now you pick this, the second one, plus 5, n minus A equals to 0. Alright, so now you open the bracket, n times n, that's n squared. N times A, that's minus an. Now 5 times n, that's plus 5. n. Okay, so now 5 times minus a, that is minus 5a, equals to 0. So you have n squared minus, now when you add this together, you'll be having minus n, or let's say a minus 5n. Alright, in such a way that when you open the bracket, you have this back. So minus 5a equals to 0. Don't bother yourself so much about this. So now, this equation I have here and this one, they are the same thing. Okay, so what I've just done here, so that you will not start looking at it as if it's something hard. No, I just factorize negative. I factor out minus and also factor out n, because n is common to these two terms. Alright, so that's for that. But my attention is not even here. So I'm going to this side here. So when you compare this and this, let's compare these two equations. You can see the coefficient of n here is 1. This one is also 1. Coefficient of n here is minus 8. The coefficient of n here is minus a minus n. And the number independent of n is minus 65. And here is minus 5a. So that means this and this are equal. Since what I want to look for is here, so I don't need to bother myself about this. So now let me compare now. So I have minus 5a equals to, that is the number that is independent of n, equals to the number independent of n here. That's minus 65. So here you can divide both sides by minus 5. We have a equals to minus 65 over minus 5. Okay, so now minus cancel minus. So 5 goes in 6, that is 1. 5 goes remainder 1, you put it in front of the 5. 5 goes in 15, that is 3. So the answer is 13. So the second root of this quadratic equation is 13. Or you can compare this and minus 8. So the coefficient of this and this. So you are going to end up having plus 13. So that is the answer to that problem. Alright. So I'm going to be giving you the last class work for today. So I want us to try this and let me see what we are going to have as the answer. Let's try this one. Try this. Okay. If 5 is one of the roots of the quadratic equation, x squared plus 4x minus 45 equals to 0. Okay. What is the other roots? Okay, now let us look at this problem we have here. So let's try it. Let's see, what do we have as the answer? If 5 is one of the roots of the quadratic equation x squared plus 4x minus 45 equals to 0, what is the other root? Okay. Okay, I can see your comments. A lot of people said they didn't understand what I just did. Now, okay, now let me explain this one. Probably maybe after this one, I'm going to give you another one. So let this one be an example. Let this one be an example. Now I want us to listen and get the problem. Now the question is, if 5 is one of the roots of the quadratic equation. Now, I said something. When you solve quadratic equations, you know you have two answers. You must always have two answers whenever you solve quadratic equation. Okay, so now one of the answers has been given. So the question wants you to get the other answer. Okay, so now that is what the question is asking for. What is the other root? I want to believe you understand what the question is asking for. Okay, good. Now let us now see. I now start by saying let the other roots that we are looking for. We don't know the other roots. I said let the other roots be equals to. Now I can use B this time around. Don't let me use A. Let it be B. The first root, the first answer is 5. The second answer I've represented it with B. So that means I must get B. Once I get B, that means the question has been solved. Alright, so now I said the second root is this. You know what we did before now is that once you are given two roots in a question, you can get the quadratic equation. So I now say, okay, since this is the first root and this is the second root, so I can just go ahead and say x equals to the first root or x equals to the second root, which I don't know, and I've represented that with B. Hope you are getting that. Alright, so the next thing now is to transpose 5. You move it to this side and also transpose this. Alright, so I have x minus 5 equals to 0 or x minus b equals to 0. Okay, can we see that? Do we all understand this one now? This is no longer a number, it's an alphabet because I don't know it, but I've represented it with B. So I move this one here. So the next thing now is to multiply this by this. You know, this one is 0 and this also 0. So I can multiply them and know the result is going to be 0. So I have it as x minus 5 times x minus b equals to 0. Okay, do you get that now? Okay, now let me move forward. The next thing is to expand this left hand side. Let us expand. So I have x times what we have here. We have x minus b. Now we pick the second one, minus 5 times x minus b equals to 0. Okay, so now let us open the brackets. You use this x to multiply each of the terms inside. So x times x, we have x squared. Now x times minus b, you have minus bx. Okay, so minus 5 times minus times x, sorry, you have minus 5x. And then minus 5 times minus b, you have plus b, 5b. plus 5b equals what? 0. Okay, so now look at this stage now. I want your response, your feedback. Do you understand it down to this side? Because I'm about getting my answer. Do we all understand that? Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. All right. I love the feedback now. So, you know, what I'm doing now is that I'm trying to get the quadratic equation which roots are 5 and b. I don't know the second one, so I've represented it with b. Okay. So now this is where I found myself. Now, don't forget the ones we have been doing. The middle terms, we had them together. But when you look at this, they are not mixable. So I can factor out what is common here. I'll just try and factor out something out here. Now what is common to these two terms is minus x. Now let me factor out minus x. So I can write this as x squared minus x. Now I'm left with b minus 5 plus 5b equals to 0. Okay, now do you understand what I'm doing now? Okay, so I factor out x because that is the common term now. So I can write this one. I want it to look like this. So I will have x squared minus b minus 5 x plus 5b equals to 0. You can see what I have here and this is the same thing. Because multiplication is commutative. If I say 2 times 3, it's the same thing as 3 times 2. Alright, so now I just try to write it such that it's going to look like this. So now you can now make comparison. Now let's compare. You see this equation I just have here, I just got here, is the same thing as this equation. They are the same. They are equivalent. Because the question said that the roots, one of the roots of the quadratic equation, this is 5. One of the roots is 5. You have to get the second root. So I now get the quadratic equation which roots are 5 and the second root that I want to get. So that means this and this are the same thing. So you can now compare. Look at this. This is x squared and this is x squared. Now, what do we have beside x here? We have this beside x minus 5 minus b minus 5. And what do we have beside x here now? So that means this and this will be equal. And also this last one, now this one and this will also be equal. So you can equate. So just pick any of them. So I can pick this one and this and I equate it to each other. So see, now minus 45 will be equal to 5b. So I have minus 45 equals to 5b. So from here you can divide both sides by 5. So you have b equals to minus 45 over 5. And that gives you minus 9. So that's going to be the second root. Do you understand that? Okay, so the second root is 9. So if you solve these quadratic equations, the quadratic equation you have here, you'll be having two answers. It's going to be 5 and minus 9. 5 and minus 9. And that's what the question wants us to get the second root, which is b. We have represented the second root with b. Alright, hope you get this one now. Alright, so let me now give you your own because you must do something to convince me that you have gotten what I did. But I observed that there are some of you that have gotten the answer, some of you have gotten my explanation. Even before explaining this, some people have dropped their answer. So you can give yourself a round of applause. So that is very good of you. So now let us carry everybody along. I'm going to give you this question. So let us try it and let's see what you're going to have. Let's see. So let me just change this. If minus 3 is one of the roots of the quadratic equation 4y squared plus 5y minus 21 equals to 0. What is the other root? Okay, can we try this? Let's try this question here. If minus 3 is one of the roots of the quadratic equation 4y squared plus 5y minus 21 equals to 0, what is the other root? What is the other root? Okay, now let's try this and let's see if you're going to get the answer. Okay. Okay, Hanad Ajib. Okay, I can see vertex of parabola, that is minus b divided by 2a minus d divided by 4a. Okay, so let's see how do we apply that to the problem. Yes, now find the other roots. Okay, somebody have gotten an answer. Uba have 5. Yes, we are waiting for others. Hanad, the other root is 7. Okay, Hanad have given an answer. Other root is 7. So we are going to confirm it together whether that result is correct or not. So can we just wait for one or two answers before we do it together? So we are waiting for Amida to give her answer. I can see you are only greeting us. What is your result? Let's have your result here. What is your result? Show me there. What is your result? Okay, I can see Taiwo Adeola. All right. Yes, you have to get the other roots. Okay, Moise, we have x equals to 7, b equals to 7. I can see minus 3 by Victor. All right. Okay, so Hannah is giving another answer. Oh, okay, 7/4. All right, so we are going to verify that later. Yes, any other person? Okay, Victor, I can see -3. I can see Ajayi 7. Okay, good one. All right, now let's verify our answers. Let's see those people that have the correct answer. Now before we solve this, if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly do that right away. So, and also don't forget to give a thumb for the class. All right, now, so if -3 is one of the roots of the quadratic equation, what is the other root? So how do you do this? Now the first thing is you start by saying let's the other roots be equals to let's say p. All right, I can represent the other root with p. So that means that y equals to -3 or y equals to p. I will not use x again because the equation is in terms of y. All right, so now let me transpose what we have here. We have y plus 3 equals to 0, or y minus p equals to 0. Okay, so the next thing is to use this and this to multiply each other. So you have y plus 3 times y minus p equals to 0. Now let us expand this. So you have y times y minus p plus 3 times y minus p equals to 0. So y times y, you have y squared. Y times p minus p, you have minus py. 3 times y, you have plus 3y. And 3 times minus p, you have minus 3p equals to 0. Okay, now let us tidy this up. Now I'm comparing with this, so I must make sure they look alike. So this now turn to y squared. Now the common factor here is minus y, so I can factor out minus y. So you factor out minus y, you have minus y open bracket p minus 3 minus 3p equals to 0. Hope you know why this one is minus. Okay, so because when you open the bracket, minus y times minus 3 is going to give you plus 3y. So minus 3y times p is going to give you minus py. Alright, so I can now compare, but I have to be very careful. You can see there's a little bit difference from the one we did earlier in this. Now look at the coefficient of x and y here is 4. And the one we have here is what? Is 1. So I have to adjust this such that it's going to look like this. So that means I will multiply the whole equation by 4 so that this will have 4. Then I can now compare. Alright, now let's do that. So you have 4y squared minus 4p minus 3y minus 12p equals to 0. Now I just multiply through by 4. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the fact that it's still the same thing as this. Okay, I only magnified it. Now why am I doing that? I want it to look like this so that my comparison now is going to make sense. So here now I can say now that okay, coefficient of y squared here and this are the same thing. As you can see, this is 4 and this is 4. Now it follows now that the coefficients here and this one will be the same thing. The coefficients here and the number here and the number here will be the same thing. Alright, so now let us look at the last term we have there. Okay, so now we have minus 12p will be equals to 21. I think we have 21 in the last question given. Okay, is it 21? Yes, we have minus 21. All right, so you have minus 21, the last question. So you are comparing, you compare with that. So now when you compare now, you will see now that minus 12p equals to minus 21. So you have p equals to minus 21 divided by minus 12. So p equals to, now minus cancel minus. Okay, 3 goes here is 4, 3 goes here is 7. So the answer is going to be 7 over 4. So the second root is going to be 7 over 4. Or you write it as 1 whole number 3 over 4. Now I told you always try as much as possible to simplify your improper fraction. Alright, so this is going to be the second root. The first root is what? Is minus 3, while the second root is 1 whole number 3 over 4. Alright, I want to believe we've learned one or two things in today's class. So those of you that participated, I want to appreciate you. Thank you very much. So now tomorrow is another day. We are going to be meeting this time tomorrow. So I want you to get yourself ready for the class. So we are going to be looking at a special part in a quadratic equation. We'll be looking at the real life problem of quadratic equation. So it's going to be interesting. So make sure you are around, and don't forget to invite your friend. So inform your friends about the class. All right, I want to believe you've learned one or two things. All right, so don't forget, like and also share the video. Don't also forget to subscribe. It's very important for you to subscribe so that whenever we're on air, you'll be notified accordingly. So thank you very much, and I want to know where you are watching from. So don't forget, drop in the comment section where you are watching from. Let me know the town, the country you are watching from. Thank you very much. Till tomorrow. Bye bye.